Thank you for joining us on This Is Exclusive. It's 7 p.m. Coming to you with two big breaking stories. We have a follow-up on the USAID and new angle, but I'm starting 7 p.m. with an exclusive report that I have accessed. In the last few days, you may have heard reports suggesting that the Mahakumbh water levels are out of whack. Many people saying that it's so polluted, and why are Hindus taking a dip at the Sangam in Mahakumbh? We are fact-checking them real time on the show tonight. Here are the headlines. The Kumbh Water Report on Republic, which completely fact-checks lobby which claimed that the water was polluted.
Some information has been put out there by the Trump administration people. Obviously that is concerning.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar's first statement on USAID foreign meddling bombshell says unelectables influencing thought process.
I think for us, what is very troubling, there are two aspects to it. One, of course, the spate of attacks on the minorities in Bangladesh.
S. Jaishankar tightens the screws on Muhammad Yunus, comes down heavily on rising atrocities against Hindus in Bangladesh. The USAID India files, we have two explosive revelations, one on BBC and the other on NDI. On the show this evening, millions and millions. Where did that money go? And the Mahakumbh water report. For the last few days, some numbers were thrown and some claims were made on the water levels at the Sangam and different points of the Mahakumbh. Republic has accessed real-time data, and this is data from the last few days, in the last few weeks, and it's data that we've gone through, official data that has been collated by the government in Uttar Pradesh. And we have some facts at hand. Let me show you the details. Let's start with the 13th of February. 13th of February, the data on your screen. Look at that, the Kumbh water levels fact check of the quality of water. Ganga. At the Sangam, the pH level was 8.42 on the 13th of February. The permissible pH levels were between 6.5 to 8.5, and it was at 8.42. The BOD levels has to be less than 3. It was less than 3. It was actually 2.1 at the Sangam. The fecal coliform had to be below 2,500 mpn per 100 ml, and it was at 1,700. This shows you that all of these numbers you're looking at, most of it was within permissible limits or within values that are perceived to be permissible. Let's show you the data from more recently. On the 17th of February, we have the recorded numbers, the official numbers for the 17th of February. Sangam, the pH levels, once again, permissible levels between 6.5 to 8.5, it was at 8.4. BOD 2.64 has to be below 3 mg per liter, and fecal coliform less than 2,500, that's the number, mpn per 100 ml, and it was at 780, which is well within the permissible limit. So at most of the guts, so you see a tick mark on the right, which means in all tabs that have to be checked, it has been checked as within permissible limits. So what was this hue and cry all about? Where did that come from? Let me go across to an expert. I have Vijaynath Mishra. Vijaynath Mishra is a professor and HOD of Neurology, Banaras Hindu University. He's joining us live. Vijaynath Mishra ji, now these are levels that I have. This is from the official data from the website that I picked up today, this evening. So when I look at those numbers, and can we play those numbers full frame right now? I'll just play those numbers full frame right now. The more recent numbers, right, on the 17th of February, exactly 3 days back. Now, when I look at those numbers, it does not alarm me. I mean, this is the 13th. Let me put the 17 numbers. This is 17. I'm stick to this. You look at that. It's not really alarming. It's seeming like it's well within the permissible limits. Is that what you make of it as an expert when you look at these numbers?
Yeah, you see, Ganga water itself have one of the important specific property that it carries bacteriophages, which none of the rivers do have, and it is an established fact over last 6 or 7 decades. We have gone through so many work and papers. And while we have been working over last 10 years with Ganga water on specific phages, these are viruses specifically present in Ganga water, which do happen to change their specific character once you get any kind of bacteria, may it be fecal coliform, may it be pathogenic typhoid bacteria, any other kind of bacteria. So these are very natural producing bacteriophages. They enter the bacteria and they kill it. So that's what the specific quality and workout with Ganga water with the researchers have already shown. And we have also been doing a lot of work on these bacteriophages of Ganga water. So the amount of load of bacteria it increases these bacteriophages and they specifically kill it. That's what the main issue with the Ganga water. And when you either immerse your hand or you take a dip, these phages do stack up in your own body. They enter in your own system of human body. And they also give a protective mechanism to your skin, to your various organs. And that's what we say Ganga water. As a scientist, if I have to say, what is the Amrit with Ganga water? So there are the few of the scientific evidences.
Yeah. So you're looking at these numbers. Once again, I want to put those numbers out, right, from the 17th of February. These numbers, you're saying, you're an expert, you look at these numbers often, you're saying this is completely normal, it's natural, right?
Yeah, when you see the numbers, the fecal coliform count less than 2,500. Now, when we talk about the fecal coliform count and when there are mass gatherings, we do have these increase up till 2,000. If you go without any this mass gathering or mass dip, the fecal coliform in such a flowing water, you will see as 100 or 200 without any sewage. So I think these numbers are permissible. And when we talk about Ganga water, we need to talk about bacteriophages.
So where did this come from? I mean, you know, you've had this whole debate, and ironically, the numbers that I just showed you was from the 17th of February, the day, you know, we saw most of those reports saying that NGT has pulled up this one, that one. There's a report.
You see, when you talk about numbers, you need to talk about the source of the Ganga water sampling.
Yes.
You need to talk about the Ganga, Yamuna, the source, the sampling points. So without those sampling points, if you say like these are the numbers, that is the number, I don't think it carries any meaning.
It's fantastic, Mr. Mishra, how when a report like this comes out, and they're all waiting to throw stones at those going to Mahakumbh.
This is something when countries have going through such a mass gathering, such Mahakumbh is going on. The people who are responsible to give this report we should be very specific that where you have collected, when you have collected, and when this report which you are showing, we talk about Sangam water collection. I don't think such rumors and such things should become.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is why we're fact-checking them. Thank you so much, Mr. Mishra, for joining us. Mr. Vijaynath Mishra from the Banaras Hindu University, an expert who looks at the quality of, you know, the water. What a sad, you know, story that tells you that
that's real sad, and it's like criminal.
It's criminal.
Why you are producing such a report without any telling the source?
Yeah, I know. And I'll leave with that number, ladies and gentlemen. I'll show the number. I'm just telling my team, I'll just quickly show the number once again. In case you're watching this broadcast, in the last few days, you may have read many reports, many claims, many sound bites, but don't believe them. This is the number. It's on the website, ladies and gentlemen. The real-time data has been published on the website, the Kumbh website. Day after day, there is a tab that talks about the water level, the water quality levels, and it's well within the permissible limits. The pH or the acidity, the BOD, the fecal coliform, the bacteria, all of them are within what is otherwise known as accepted values. So please don't fall for it. There are many people who hate the Mahakumbh. We are taking them on as well. For some reason, they don't like the Mahakumbh being a success, and that could be a problem, and that is what we want to expose. Okay, let's move on now. Thank you, Mr. Mishra. I'm moving on to the big breaking story coming up next. USAID. USAID. We've been getting you details every single day of USAID. Now, we are trying to join the dots. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, we've accessed the full India files of USAID. I have the full file with me, and we are going through part by part. And this is what we found out last night. Last night, I was going through some of the details of USAID funding. And when I was going through the funding, this is what I found out. From 2021 to 2024, there is this group called the National Democratic Institute. National Democratic Institute has sent 19.9 million, was sent by USAID $19.9 million to India in just the years 2021 to 2024. You may ask, how much is that in Indian rupees? That's 169.15 crore rupees in India. The fund on USAID website and the data that we have access to said it's a fund for democratic participation and civil society. That's the category. That's the category under which this fund of 20 million yearly was given to NDI. What did the NDI do in December 2023? You will be very, very interested, ladies and gentlemen. We looked at the details on NDI website. By the way, it's on their website. They gathered election experts from around Asia, and they met in Nepal exactly 4 months before the elections in India, before the Lok Sabha elections. What you will be even more curious to know is that S.Y. Qureshi, the former Chief Election Commissioner of India, was at that conference. Why is this former Chief Election Commissioner interesting? Because he is the same man with whom the IFES signed up an agreement. IFES worked closely with USAID, which worked closely with the Election Commission, starting the UPA era. Pathikrit Payne is joining us. Pathikrit is a strategic affairs expert. Pathikrit, 19.9 million, nearly 20 million, sent between 2021 and 2024. You go through the website, it's in public domain. They think that you can't join the dots. They met, and in fact, yesterday, I had another input. I'll just bring that out as well. They said that the whole purpose of this meeting in Nepal in December 2023 was to train youth from specific countries in South Asia, including India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, etc., to critically assess, critically study election data and question the electoral process. It's not me saying it, it's on the website, right? And this was sent by USAID.
So Niranjan, thank you for bringing out this information, and I'm absolutely not surprised because if you look at what happened from 2024 onwards, those who are pretty prominent in the digital media actually came to, could make out that a certain kind of content which is anti-establishment was getting traction, and those who were pro-establishment were completely getting curtailed, which means the algorithm was used, AI was used by big tech, and the alliance between organizations like USAID and its tentacles and big tech is a known thing. Now, why we should not be surprised by what these organizations do in the name of promoting democracy? Let me give 2 examples for people to understand. Robert Kennedy Jr., who is now the health secretary in the United States, mentioned that in 2024, United States, he said CIA is, USAID is a CIA front, and he mentioned that in 2014, in Ukraine, for a regime change, it spent $5 billion, and Victoria Nuland, who is considered to be one of those elements who keep on doing those regime changes, had the new cabinet team ready even before the democratically elected government of Yanukovych was toppled. They spent $600 million for anti-Russia media propaganda. They actually collaborated with an organization called Internews Network. Internews Network has a huge collaboration in India with several entities who promote a specific type of narrative which is against the Modi government. And they have been doing it for years now.
And I want to show you something else, Pathikrit. Pathikrit, I want to show you something else because this is interesting. You spoke about internews, so I wanted to come in. I have another breaking update. This is another data that I picked up yesterday from the entire data download, the data dump of USAID, right? You'll be shocked to know that USAID funded BBC Trust in India. USAID was sending money to the BBC World Trust in India, right? BBC World Service Trust got USAID funding to its India offices under the Modi regime. Since Modi took office, $4.6 million have been sent to the BBC World Service Trust India office just since Modi took office. And it is very, very interesting. The category for funding for BBC World Service Trust is health and population. Under health and population category, they got money. Subcategory under which BBC World Service Trust got money from USAID was social and behavioral change, communication for RMNCH plus A, etc. Right? BBC World Service Trust. And we know what BBC has been doing here in India. BBC World Service Trust in India was getting money from USAID. Very, very suspicious.
For me, it's not surprising. I'll tell you, Niranjan, I'll give you two examples. USAID, the mention of BBC, let me tell you what is this part of. This is part of something that USAID has been funding called Internet Censorship Project, in which they funded an organization run by an entity person called Nina Jankovic, and they were working on something called Center for Information Resilience, which means they wanted a specific kind of information to come out, and any information which they considered would topple the cart, it was completely restrained. And the funding used to come for this. You mentioned about BBC. I'll quote something. Reporters Sans Frontier, Niranjan, this entity literally is a front of USAID. Look at the statement that came out after USAID was exposed. It states officially that Trump's foreign aid freeze throws journalism around the world into chaos, confusion, and uncertainty. I mean, what kind of media would be into confusion and uncertainty because of USAID being exposed, unless it is a reality that USAID was working to actually create a certain kind of narrative? Frankly speaking, Niranjan, this organization which masquerades as a developmental agency is nothing but an entity which works in, developing and promoting a certain kind of political agenda. And they promote radical leftist ideology, nothing more. Those who claim to be independent journalists, Niranjan, I would be very happy if government of India works on it in India as well. Those who claim to be independent journalists and they claim others as Godi media, you will find most of them have certain kind of connection with Internews network. And you will see the kind of funding they have got, the kind of public policy institutes they have promoted to actually push
what
a
we'll
certain
do,
kind of narrative.
Yeah, what we'll do in the next few days is, and Donald Trump, when he said, when he made a comment yesterday saying that it's a kickback scheme, right? Look at the numbers. Will you believe it or not? I was shocked to see this, and I thought maybe it's a problem with the data set, right? It showed that in 1962, $500 million was sent to India. Now, I don't know whether I was dreaming. I don't know what was going on, but I actually saw that on the sheet. 1962. Like, for example, there's a 300-year-old who's still getting pension in the US, right? Similarly, in 1962, $500 million was sent to India is what this USA data says. Now, I'm not saying anything, but I also believe that somewhere this could be one massive kickback scheme of money being sent to India and then being routed through India somewhere else, right? I'm leaving it at that because we are investigating that as well. Some of these organizations, and let me tell you, there are shady organizations that have office addresses in basements in Delhi and hotels close to the airport. We'll tell you all about that. We are investigating the story here on Republic. Thanks for watching.